News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Welcome back to the Yaffee program. I am Alabama's voice of reason, your voice of truth in a world that is sometimes beyond reason. We're going to talk Alabama politics in just a moment, but we have to talk about Iran as well. So joining me on the show is Todd Stacy. He is the host of Alabama Public Television's Capitol Journal, also with Alabama Daily News, which you can read anytime at aldailynews.com. Todd, how are you this morning?
I'm great, Yaffee. How are you?
Doing good, but things are not great in the Persian Gulf. We had 3 U.S. service members killed by Iran over the weekend. You look at some of the polls, the war is not popular. I suggest that one of the main reasons it's not is because we were in this weird middle ground, ceasefire, not ceasefire, that I think the American people can kind of be rallied behind a cause if they believe it's worth it. And a lot of them just don't know if it's worth it yet. But what do you think about this?
Oh, I absolutely agree, and it's the middle way, as Margaret Thatcher would say. That is the most problematic sometimes, and we're either going to deal with Iran or we're not. I think that was why a lot of folks were confused about this deal that was reached that never really seemed realistic, just because Iran for decades has demonstrated that they lie. they lie, and now it's funny to see President Trump acknowledging that, like, they're a bunch of liars, and so I find that a little humorous, but obviously it's not a funny situation. You're right. You got to deal with it. I know that this president does not want to engage, ground forces, things like that. I'm not a military strategist. I couldn't tell you what the best strategy is, but we do need to have an end game in mind, end goal in mind. It seems to me that is regime change. I know nobody likes that term, but this murderous regime that has existed since the 70s, I just don't see how Iran becomes less problematic with these guys still in power. And so if we can actually figure out what we want from this, then maybe we can figure out how to go about it. But I agree with you that it's the middle way that lukewarm approach is not going to cut it.
Yeah, I feel like if it really did look like victory, that the American people would be more supportive today. They would be more popular because we don't like to lose. It's kind of my point there, which I think is the frustration, one of the frustrations.
Well, that's right. And going back to the beginning, I think it should. I understand the need for strategic surprise, and so that's why you didn't see a bunch of here's where we're going to go and here's the targets we're going to hit before they were actually hit. That's a good thing. At the same time, it is incumbent upon the president to make the case, not just to Congress, but to the nation in general, why we're taking large-scale military activity. If you go back to ISIS, which Trump did very well in terms of turning that ship around and actually destroying ISIS, he was clear about it, clear about our objectives, and making sure that the American people understood that they were the aggressors. ISIS was killing our service members. They were killing indiscriminately throughout the region. They had to be dealt with. That same case has not been made for Iran, and certainly not at the beginning. Don't have a time machine, but can't go back to that. But I do think he could have done a better job and can do a better job of enunciating it. There's one other thing, though, Yaffee, that's way different now than even going back to ISIS or even going back to Iraq and Afghanistan, and especially how, back in those days, Bush, he had the left absolutely against him. You had just anti-war people, and as the war drug on and had its pitfalls, some independents and everything. But you always had a pretty strong support amongst the conservative base and Republican base. That's different now, and part of the reason it's different now is you've got these influencers like the Tucker Carlsons and like the Megyn Kellys I mean, the list is long and gets crazier from there. But they have a tremendous amount of influence on the right, and they have been dogging this thing from the very beginning. You didn't have that kind of stuff back in Iraq, Afghanistan, ISIS. So I do think that's made a considerable difference, to say nothing of all the anti-Semitism of like, hey, let's blame all this on Israel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There is a lot. You're right. I don't remember that as much when it came to Iraq and Afghanistan. There was definitely the opposition from the left and the Democrats, like you said,
Right.
but a lot of the whole Israel dragged us into the war. I don't remember that as much back then.
Yeah, I mean, you could turn on MSNBC and hear it there, or if Air America, or let's go back 20 years. But they didn't have purchase on the right. The anti-war, or whatever you want to call isolationists, did not have a lot of purchase on the right. That's not true these days. And I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I'm not an expert exactly, but there's a lot of money changing hands out there. And there's just seems to be a lot of, like I said, influence among that crowd. And I mean, that's a constituency. They have to deal with that. And I think especially J.D. Vance, the vice president, is really trying to, I don't know, capture that constituency as he prepares to run for president. And that, to me, it gets a little murky there. Like you saw what he did on Joe Rogan and all that. So,
Yeah.
It makes it tough for a commander in chief to actually achieve victory when you got folks kind of harping on you from both sides.
Speaking with Todd Stacy, he's with Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Let's talk about who you had on your show. I believe you had Stephen Reed, right, the mayor of Montgomery, and he's a little bit worried about this bill that would take away some local control when it comes to recruiting police officers, correct?
Yeah, this was a pretty big bill during the legislative session. In fact, as originally filed, it would have impacted Huntsville as well, meaning, cities of a certain capacity, certain size, and for whatever reason, Huntsville and Montgomery were in that same size, would be forced to meet certain benchmarks when it comes to hiring police officers. Now, Huntsville was out of the woods because they have actually done a better job of hiring. But the whole point all along was the capital city, which has really struggled in recent years. I think a lot of cities have struggled, but Montgomery more than most. And it's a concern to the legislature, to the whole state. This is the capital city, by the way, and having a really dangerous place is not good for anybody. That bill ultimately did not pass. It just kind of ran out of time, but the point was made, and I think that even the mayor who opposed it understood. Yes, we've got to get more cops on the street. And the point he made was, look, yes, we all agree on that, but that doesn't stop the fact that this is a state overreach into local government, which as any conservative could appreciate that argument. He also made the argument that it's easy enough to just go hire anybody to be a police officer, but they've got people in the pipeline that it takes years to actually train to be effective police officers and not put themselves in dangers by or themselves or others in danger by not being fully trained in how to de-escalate situations and things like that. I understand that makes sense. At the same time, I think everybody has been putting pressure on the mayor in a good way to get the ranks up. The state has been super involved in having troopers patrolling, that, especially downtown where there's been a lack of officers. So I think you're seeing progress. But yeah, there's no question that the point has been made from the state to the city of Montgomery. We're tired of having a dangerous capital city.
That really is a good point as well. He can talk about local control, but the state has an interest, not just because it's in the state, of course, but it is the capital. So you have the seat of government there. So it's similar to Washington, D.C. in that way, where it's like the argument that, well, you're taking away local control. I don't know if people really mind that if there actually is a problem, correct? They might be for state control if the local control is not doing the job,
Right, and see, and that's the thing. The city and the state have worked really well together on this MAX program, metropolitan area something. Sorry, crime suppression.
Yeah. I think it's the Metropolitan Area Crime Suppression Unit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the city and the state have been very closely working together on that, which is the way it should be. Because you don't want animosity. You don't want a situation where, okay, the troopers are coming in and just taking over from the city police, because they really need to work together, right? And they have. So, like, you've got basically troopers are patrolling and doing things that allow the Montgomery police to get more into the community and do those investigations, right? Hey, if I don't have to patrol downtown, I can actually go into these neighborhoods and solve the murder that happened or prevent others. And that's the way it's supposed to happen. I don't want a situation where there's like competing forces. And this is not a war zone by any stretch. It's just, like a lot of cities. And look, credit to Huntsville, especially credit to Birmingham. They've really upped their ranks. I had Mayor Woodford on earlier this year. Not only have they increased their police ranks, they have drastically decreased their violent crime. So it's possible to do. If the city of Birmingham can do it, the city of Montgomery can do it as well, especially with all the state resources down here.
I mean, I've always thought that the problem mostly was will, not ability. It just took really the will of leadership to step up and say, okay, we're going to actually do this. We're going to crack down on crime. And it's kind of like in Tennessee, you see in Memphis, the crime problem can be dealt with. Sometimes you need help from other resources, but it's like really it just takes leaders to recognize a problem and want to address it, right?
Yeah, and also, again, that folks working together, when a presidential administration changes, it absolutely impacts even local crime, because the U.S. attorneys change. Sometimes that takes a while. The AUSA under those U.S. attorneys change. We've got to have more help or alignment with the federal government, with the prosecutors, to get dangerous people and dangerous weapons off the street. We've got a huge, not just in Montgomery, all across the state, got a huge trafficking issue where illegal guns come in and they're used by criminals to kill people. That creates the ability for federal intervention, and the benefit of that, which the mayor mentioned, that you convict somebody under a federal gun crime, well, they're going out to federal prison in Nebraska or North Dakota. They're not going to be around here to be able to talk to their buddies from behind bars. That's another reason why I'd like to see, and we'll see, we're thinking about the next governor, somebody coming down from the federal government. Maybe there's more ability to align there.
Todd Stacy is with Alabama Daily News and Alabama Public Television's Capitol Journal. You can check out Capitol Journal on YouTube if you missed it live on public television, or the podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. Appreciate it, Todd. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Yaffee, be good.
All right, when we get back, yes, we'll start that Sunday news shows recap in a moment on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Scrolling with Haley. Join Haley Caronia as she scrolls through the biggest headlines.
If you haven't watched this show before, we do blind reactions. I have not seen these videos, so I am seeing them for the first time with all of you. We're going to implement the tinfoil hat time segments and all the stuff you know and love. And I'm going to finish the show and answer some of your questions. Someone asked me what made you get into podcasting, and I was producing podcasts for other people. And I was like, I could do this for myself, and here I am.
Scrolling with Haley. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Scrolling with Haley. Join Haley Caronia as she scrolls through the biggest headlines.
If you haven't watched this show before, we do blind reactions. I have not seen these videos, so I am seeing them for the first time with all of you. We're going to implement the tinfoil hat time segments and all the stuff you know and love. And I'm going to finish the show and answer some of your questions. Someone asked me what made you get into podcasting, and I was producing podcasts for other people. And I was like, I could do this for myself, and here I am.
Scrolling with Haley. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.